Okay.
Welcome to the White Privilege, Black Power, a diversity and inclusion improv show raising funds for Black lives. I'm Kunor Bahal, and I'm founder of a company called Mindhatch. Mindhatch is all about creating the right conditions for innovation and creativity to occur in businesses and companies using methods like design thinking, organizational improv, innovation facilitation, and also now through diversity and inclusion programs such as White Privilege, Black Power. So countless studies and research out there about workplaces has proven that diverse and inclusive teams are in fact more innovative, more creative, and more successful in business. So our thinking was that if Mindhatch is going to be, about creating the conditions and environments for innovation and creativity to flourish, we also have to be involved in helping our clients make diversity, equity, and inclusion flourish. So just do the math. So I'm so flattered that Eva and Greg came to me at the end of last year and decided to entrust their White Privilege, Black Power show to Mindhatch to bring it to companies and organizations. After 4 years of them performing this show, they knew that it could go far beyond just the great entertainment value it offers and also offer a path to really a lot of change within organizations. So we are psyched because we have a show today, a show on Friday. In total so far, there have been over 350 people who have signed up for the show to support and raise funds for Black lives. And there's a great deal of need out there to support Black lives, and the needs are changing, every single day. So where your funds that we're raising today are going to go is to an Act Blue campaign that is distributing funds based on need to more than 70 community bail funds, activist groups, and mutual aid organizations, and racial justice organizations. So we have the link to donate right above me. It's not clickable, but we also are dropping it into the chat. And so over the next 20-25 minutes of the show, please just sit back, get used to the sound of your own laughter because you will be on mute. You won't be able to hear anyone but Greg and Eva. Reflect, and please donate generously. And so without further ado, I will turn it over to Eva and Greg, who are White Privilege, Black Power.
Excellent. All right.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kunor. That's right. Defund the police. Yes, I know that's one. I don't know for Greg. It depends on where we go with our conversation, but we can definitely talk about that. Everyone, once again, we are White Privilege, Black Power. I'm Eva Lewis.
I'm Greg Tyndale.
Excellent. As Kunor said, we've been doing this show almost 4 years now, where it started off our local improv theater, Washington Improv Theater, had a show. It was around the time of the inauguration of 45. And so they wanted like social justice, social conscious type shows. Greg said, hey, Eva, would you want to do a show where we ask each other questions, and then get an answer response and do some scenes? And I said, oh, sure. And I thought that was going to be a one and done, like a lot of improv shows is a one and done, you move on, but we've been doing it ever since. So just to get started, Greg is going to ask me a question. This is a question that I do not know. I never heard this before. So the answer I give is just my honest response on the spot. I do know when you registered for this webinar, charity show, that you also gave suggestions of like some workplace incidents that you've had. So we're going to take some suggestions of that. And Kunor is the only one who's seen that, and we haven't seen any of that. So just to get started, I'm going to have Greg. What's your question?
Great. All right. So like you mentioned, this got started right after the inauguration. And personally, for me, it felt like, oh, this is a turning point. We need to start realizing and talking and understanding what are different between people so we can bring people together. And so, we did the show. We asked a lot of the tough questions up front. And over the course of the time of doing the show, we would bring other voices in. And then I would say that maybe the intensity of the questions maybe died off a little bit, where we were still asking important questions. And then now over the last 2 weeks, where all of this stuff that had been kind of laying dormant is now coming to the front. People are really feeling it. We're being inundated by messages about this all the time. That we kind of hit the point where there's some like a question of like, is it funny to still do this? Like, should we still be doing the show? Is like part of the question to discuss.
Yeah.
And
That's more of a question for Greg. I know he's reflecting on himself, but go ahead.
Yeah. And that's tied to this idea. Yeah, and as I'm talking about this, like, this is for the white people on the call, really, because I think, you know, what we've been doing for the last 4 years is essentially performative allyship. Is that, like, I've been performing and I've been part of this conversation with the audiences to have them see some questions they haven't asked themselves or what they feel about it. And now that we're getting into a point where we're seeing a lot more people and companies coming out with performative allyship, like kind of like in a negative way, where they're not really doing anything to further the cause except for maybe putting it out there. I guess I wanted to get your impression, because we're also seeing the statement a lot, white silence equals violence. And I know there's a lot of people who are worried that they're not doing enough, or they're doing too much, or we're seeing a lot of people doing stuff and then they're just being dunked on social media because they're not doing the right thing. So I guess I wanted to get a feel from you how you've seen people either step up more or step up in the wrong way, or people you didn't think that would step up are now stepping up, and just how you feel about that in the last 2 weeks.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, so first, I think those and really we're talking about non-blacks at this point, right? So just
Right. Yeah.
non-blacks, and so I definitely have seen people who I know have been down for the cause. Like I knew like that they were going to be involved and expressive and like and just down for the cause. But I was surprised about some folks on my some of the non-black friends I have on like Facebook and Instagram who have taken or been more vocal about it. You know, I wasn't expecting it. And I guess maybe from a few people, I thought they would be more expressive about it, but, you know, but haven't seen anything socially about that. And so you know, one, I think for all non-black people, they really need to educate themselves. Because so another thing that's come up a lot is like, well, you know, what do I do? What you know, what is the issue? And the thing is like, this is not a black people issue, right? It may affect us in terms of like our lives, obviously, but in terms of like stopping this issue, it has to come from non-black people, particularly white people. And so the one about like silence equals violence, I think that is a very poignant statement for folks, and that, you know, and I think this really comes, I think it hits the hardest when it's coming from so-called like liberal, moderate white folks, right? Who speak the right things, but in terms of like when it's time to enact the policy and time to hire, you know, more people of color, you know, in terms of that, like hire more women and hire more LGBTQ individuals, right? So like it's that's where it hurts the most. And of course we all know, like I think it's the Martin Luther King quote. I don't know the exact wording of it, but like, you know, when, you know, the silence of your friends. And I think that's where that balance comes in, because like it shouldn't have had to take in seeing George Floyd, right, for 8 minutes and 46 seconds of that officer just sitting, kneeling on his neck and killing him, for white folks to awaken. Like I'm glad for the awakening, but it shouldn't have taken that, because we've already seen videos about that. And this is not a secret. Black folks have already known that this was happening, right? The thing is like, this is stuff that we've been mentioning, and I think folks who are not awakened to it and who haven't educated themselves wouldn't know that this is happening. But now they see it, right? And then that's a different thing. You can't ignore it anymore. And so that is, I think, you know, I think everyone has to do their part in terms of like the conversations that they have to have with their loved ones, these uncomfortable conversations, which I know people are having. I will say one big example I had was there was an individual on Instagram just yesterday. I saw in his story, and particularly he's white, cisgender, heterosexual, and he does improv like myself and Greg, and he was just laying out the privilege he's had with a lot of the improv theaters over the years, and he was calling himself out, right, which is a big thing. And like, you know, you gotta give him props, because the thing is like a lot of people are not taking that assessment, and I think you have to take that assessment and make the corrective action.
Yeah, I think that's the crucial element, is that there's some level of like negative performative allyship of where you're just like, oh, this is what everybody's doing, like I better go do this right now. And then there's some level of it where if you're doing the actual work, then you have something to bring to the equation. Now, I find that, unfortunately, I'm on the far side of this, where I've been doing a lot of this work, and now that everybody else is doing it and posting about it, I don't want to be out there posting about it. Like, I feel like just because I'm like rebellious and want to be unique, now that everybody's doing it, I don't want to do it. But I think that's because I have a weird relationship to social media, to where like it feels like you know, when you see like the Washington Redskins like posting the black square on their Instagram, like when their name is the Redskins, or you see like the 49ers doing it when they cut Colin Kaepernick. It's just like, okay, well, do I want to be like them, or do I want to actually you know, like do the work? So I think there is some level of doing the work versus like telling people that you're doing the work.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Hey Greg, you know,
Yeah.
I want to thank you so much for, you know, all the work you've been doing with the fundraising for our school. You know, like the casino night.
Yeah.
It's a hit. That alone, I can fund, you know, my band program and sports program and field trips and things like that. And I just want to say, you know, thank you for your service. But I'm going to have to, and I hate to say this word, demote you from head parent of fundraising for our school.
What?
Yeah.
Demote me?
Yeah.
But there's a brand new playground out there because of me.
Yeah. But that was the past, right? And you know, we just getting a new influx of new students coming in, right? And we had this new energy, and it seemed like you were gangbusters about it before, but for the past, you know, semester, you've been silent, and other people have been stepping up. So, you know, I don't want to carry around dead weight. I hate to say that word too. I don't want to say it, but I gotta let you go because obviously your heart is not in it anymore.
This is because of D Knight, isn't it? D Knight thinks that he can walk into the PTA coming from his fenced-in community where everybody has money to give, and all of a sudden he's in our school district now, and he thinks he can come in and tell everybody what it takes to do a fundraiser. I've done it. I've done popcorn sales. I've done cookie sales.
Yes,
I've done candy sales.
Yes,
I've done car washes.
Loved it.
I've done fly anywhere around the world raffle tickets.
Excellent. Yes. My neighbor went that one.
Yeah. And she went to the Bahamas.
Yeah.
I would have chosen somewhere further than the Bahamas, but that's not my choice. All I cared about was that money built a slide.
Yeah.
And our kids go down that slide.
Yeah. And it did, but there are new issues that have been coming up, right? So, you know, we had to replace the roof. That's a major project, major fundraising. This past semester, and I want to focus on this past semester, you have not been involved. And I hate to say it, like, I was really surprised because, like, when we knew about the issues with the roof, and then also, don't get me started about the parking lot and all the potholes that we need to figure out in that parking lot. I just thought, this should be the person that I should be out front, coming up with a plan, right?
Yeah.
On the social media, doing this thing. And I just didn't see it. And that's why I gotta demote you.
Well, that's the thing, though, is like when I go out in front of like a big, beautiful park that I built, where we put all those, you know, beautiful pine trees they're just little pine trees right now.
Yeah.
But in like, you know, in years, they're going to grow up to be big and protected. It's so beautiful. That's like something that's like really beautiful and artistic that could like be on social media and people care about it. But like me standing on a roof, like with the sun coming down on me, what is this, like the Shawshank Redemption movie? I'm out, like, it just doesn't seem like a fun thing. Is it just me, or
who said fundraising is supposed to be fun? You know, like fundraising is not fun, right? I mean, you can have
it says fun right in the word fundraising. It should be fun.
That
sounds like it should be fun.
That's a lure to get people in. Look here, Greg. The only thing I'm going to say is thank you for your allyship, right? But unless I see you being more active, because here's the thing, we can't have people being silent anymore, right? And like I gotta keep saying, the past semester when all these issues are coming up, you've been silent. And I think you just want to ride this wave of all the beautiful things you did before, which, thank you. As principal, I can't, I wouldn't be able to do what I can do without people like you. But DMARC, yeah, they've come
All right.
in and they're doing good stuff. I don't see it from you, and I'm worried about it.
So then I guess do you want me to actually to go like get on the roof and fix the roof? Or do I just need to post more stuff on social media? Or like what is it actually going to take?
I need you to do what you were doing before, right? Which was coming up with a plan, posting on social media to execute that plan, getting people, getting sponsors, finding out how we can pay for someone to go to the Bahamas, which is an excellent destination. My neighbor, Miss Heron Sanderson, did not need to go anywhere else. Bahamas is excellent. So that's what I need from you. I need you to be the most vocal you are right now, because if not, you will get replaced.
Okay.
And your legacy will go away, just like our roof is going away right now. And I can't have my kids getting drenched in the middle of class, okay?
I think that's something I can get behind.
All right, so what are you going to do for me?
I'm going to sell some popcorn. Let's sell some popcorn.
Excellent. And see. Excellent. Fantastic. Excellent. Yes, thank you so much. That was our first scene, and then I know Knorr has gotten your suggestions that you wrote up for her in the registration. We have not seen it. We don't know it at all. So Knorr is going to give one. Greg and I are going to briefly talk about it and then do another scene.
Oh yeah, Eva and Greg just showed up. I'm doing all the work. I was kidding. Okay, so I have like a twofer. Like they both speak to the same thing.
Okay.
So one is that someone says when they were made to feel different in the workplace was when I was asked to draft responses to customers who were unhappy with our response to racial tensions because I would quote know the right way to phrase things. And then in a similar vein, as one of the few Black staff at my organization, I am often looked at as the answer to all things Black and as the person to know how other Black colleagues feel.
Yeah. And that's I mean that's definitely something that I can relate to. And maybe Greg and maybe and maybe in some box you check, maybe you can relate to it as well. But just directly to that part, this whole thing of like being the representative for your race, right? And the thing is, like Black folks, I think we understand this. This is something that we carry around with us. In terms of like, I know my actions are going to reflect on all Black people, right? Like even SNL had that nice sketch, which is something a trope and thing that people have always talked about in terms of like when there's some robbery or some murder or some other heinous crime, and you're just like, ooh, don't let it be a Black person, don't let it be a Black person, let it be, oh yes, it's a white person, right? And going from there. So I definitely feel you on that, and I think it's one, it's like for the first response about the responding to like racial discrimination. One, is that even your job? Like, are you like the accountant that's saying like, I need you to pinch hint right quick in this, right? I'm hoping like you're in the comms department or sales department when you're doing it. But it otherwise, like it becomes taxing. And then also, I think a part of this conversation is that, you know, being Black is just one part of me, right? And a part of all Black people, we make up all different things. And so a lot of times you just you don't want to be known as the Black performer or the Black improviser, right? In our context, right? You just want to be known as a performer who is Black. And so I think it's hard in the moment because if your job is a power dynamic and structure, so you may not want to say no, I'm not gonna answer those emails, and or two, like everyone should be able to answer this because we all should be on the same page about how we respond to complaints. And also, you probably should talk to your attorney also about how to respond and to make sure you're doing it right. So that's a big thing. And then like always being like the go-to expert on your race. That also sucks because you're not the go-to expert. Like I probably know more Black people I definitely know more Black people than Greg knows, right? But or even at your job, but doesn't mean that you are the expert on Blackness, right? And whatever response or anything that's happening in the Black culture or Black world, that you are you know what you're going to give the perfect answer to it.
Yeah.
Yep.
You want to jump right into a scene?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Eva, you are the best mechanic we have here at this Chrysler dealership. You know, top of the class. Everything we give to you, you fix. It runs perfectly afterwards.
Yeah. I try my best. I love this job. Yep.
You're good. You're good at what you do.
Yeah.
So word came down from corporate, and we're actually trying to get more into the Black community to buy more Chrysler Pacificas.
Okay,
so,
all right. I'm willing to expand. Of course, you know, I'm willing to travel. Like if, you know, mechanic services, as we expand and do that, like I can definitely take over a department. So like, you know, I'm all for that.
Yeah. Well, I guess, you know, just we're trying to find out what would make a Black person buy a Chrysler Pacifica minivan? Like as an expert, what would they do?
Oh, you said Black. You said Black people. You meant to say just people, right? Or just
no. Specifically, corporate wants more Black people to buy Chrysler Pacifica minivans, and so we just wanted to know you because I think you're actually the highest paid Black person at Chrysler Pacifica. As the top mechanic here, I think so. Yeah. So
you don't have any Black people in the C-suite?
Well, I don't have access to C-suite. I'm still on D-suite, so I don't know what goes on up there. But
what about on D-suite? D-suite. You don't have any Black people in D-suite?
No, we don't.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
Oof. Okay.
I think we're finding out there's a lot of problems here, and this is just kind of the beginning of figuring all this stuff out.
All right.
Okay. So yeah, I feel like I'm going to be the messenger that's killed on this one. Okay.
Okay. All right. Let's break this down a little bit, right? So like.
Yeah.
First off, right, I have been Black all my life. Check with my mom, right? Check with my mom and dad. I've been Black all my life, so I do have that experience. And in terms of Buicks, yes, I've been driving a Buick for the past 20 years as I'm a mechanic, a head mechanic. I did not think I would be the highest Black person in the organization.
Yeah, it's a problem.
That's a huge problem. That's a huge problem. I went to school, like I graduated high school, and I went to mechanic school, and like I've been keeping up to date, on best practices and dealing with the cars, and that's why I'm the best at what I do. But I didn't go to school in like sales and marketing, and so like I don't know. Let me spitball. I guess some things. I just want to say this is ridiculous. Too, but I want to be a team player, right? And I want to help out if this is how I can help, other than like expanding.
After it came out of my mouth, I've become increasingly more uncomfortable with this conversation, and I'm realizing now that this is an institutional problem here at Chrysler Pacifica. But if you have any ideas, it actually might make my job a little bit easier. Like, would you want to start a blog? Maybe would you want to just like have a blog talking about minivans or?
No, I mean, what I could do is like talk about best practices and like keeping the upkeep of your car, right? Like here are things you can do like that I would love to do. And I think that's kind of like where I want to go in my second act of my career, is just like helping people take better care of their cars. I don't know of any specific issues of car taking relate to Black people more than other non-Black people. But I'm willing to take a stab at it. But you know what? But I want to rewind a little bit. It wasn't until you actually said the words out loud that you knew this was going to be problematic.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest with you. They sent me down here, and I didn't really know what I was doing. And the email came here. I think this was actually somebody from C-suite kind of set me up on this one, which is not the first time that they've done this to me. They actually at one point sent me to drive a Chrysler Pacifica minivan in an all-out road race, and I thought I was just dropping it off, and it ended up being a 72-hour race across the south, the route across the country and the bottom of America. So I didn't appreciate that either.
Yeah.
That one, while it was wrong, was not institutional racism. Now I'm feeling like that I'm not getting a whole lot of respect over here as well. So yeah, I think this is a turning point.
Oh, all right. No, you definitely were getting respect because, like, first of all, that car doesn't have the horsepower to do what they wanted you to do.
It did not. It did not. I finished dead last. Was surprised I finished.
Yeah.
But yeah, and did not get any bonuses or extra money doing it.
Wow.
I had to take off 2 weeks of vacation to finish it, which was really money out of my pocket.
They made wow. You know, I was.
But this isn't about me. This isn't about me.
I guess no, it isn't. But I think it ties into this toxic environment where they are pushing stuff on employees that are not equipped for that. But here's the thing. Like, I've been watching the commercials over the past like 2 decades. What if they had Black actors in the commercials?
That's great.
Yep.
That's great. I think that's enough for me to take back to corporate and then just see how it goes. Let it run with that.
Oh, that was okay. That I'm just spitballing here, right?
Okay.
That's
if you have more, great. If not, I'm happy to take that back to corporate and then quit. But either way, it's good for me.
You're quitting?
Yeah. Yep.
You're quitting because you just realized that they're abusing you?
Yep. Me and other people. So
yeah.
You know, the Chrysler Pacifica minivan is the best minivan on the market as far as I'm concerned.
Goddamn right it is. It's the best car for a family. Or people who have a lot of people living in their house, right? And they want to cram in a lot of folks. You damn right it is. And here's the thing. I understand, like, you're a young man. You could jump and leave to another organization. But if you made it to the D-suite, and I don't know how you made it there, but they're there.
It was because of my father. My father, he's worked there for So
I was gonna call it. I was gonna call that. But here's the thing. Like, I think you need to give them a piece of your mind, and if they fire you, they fire you. But maybe you need to stay there, and you need to try to enact to have some Black people, right, or at least some consultants who are Black who can help you with marketing to the Black community. Because, like, the idea of putting Black actors, they should have thought of that 20 years ago in their commercials. It's something
like
that
I could be like a secret weapon for anti-racist acts within the company. Like, they think that I'm just part of the company, but I'm really like being subversive inside of it. I like that. And then I'll make them drive that Pacifica across the country and get that revenge on them.
No, it's still bad to be driving that Pacifica, drag racing across the country. So that
you're right.
Scratch that. Everything else you said was spot on. And like, another one I think is like sponsorships, right? Like, I know other car dealerships and whatnot, but I think maybe doing like a scholarship or like something within the community, like that's stuff that you could be pushing for, and also pushing for hiring some non-Black folks in those C-suite and D-suite. I didn't even know D-suite existed, but why don't you do that? And then like, it ain't come back.
I'm the only person in D-suite because my dad gave me it. So
all right, so maybe you do need to quit. Yeah. Excellent. There you go.
That's awesome. Okay, if more white men said the words, you know what, it's not about me, married, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
It's true.
So we still have 75 people who are in the webinar. We've raised over $1,200.
Hey.
Right.
How are we all feeling? We are about 5 minutes past the time we said we would end. Do we want to do one more scene, or do we want to, like, you know, close it out here on a high? How are people feeling? Greg, even people in the audience?
I see one more, so I say we can go one more.
Hey.
It is funny though. It is funny to see people leaving from the top while we're in the middle of the scene.
Yeah.
It's like being at a comedy club and people are just getting up like, enough.
But we're having too much fun. So, oh my gosh, yeah, that last scene was like such an obvious example of why you need people of color in the workplace.
Exactly.
Point out the simple, obvious things, like how we put people of color in our ads. Oh my
Yep.
goodness.
It's
Yeah.
not there. Yeah.
Yeah. So the next is also kind of like two similar things that different people said.
Right.
It's a little bit more from maybe the perspective that Greg might have, but someone wrote when it comes to like a question or a confusion they have when it comes to D&I, is what to do to reach out to Black colleagues or friends when you are white. So friending while white. And then similarly, someone said, I'm confused about how to intentionally build relationships with more Black people without it being super uncomfortable for the Black person that I clearly don't already have many Black friends. I don't want to place undue burden on them or cause them to feel tokenized.
Yep.
That's a great question, and if there's a good answer for that, I'll take that offline as well. I mean, just I have like a belief that there's kind of like, if you're gonna have any friends as an adult, you need to have an actual thing that you do with them. So you need to have some kind of shared passion. Yeah. So maybe it's just like whatever you're passionate about, try and connect with people in that way. Or if there's something something that you see people that you want to connect with, like go get interested in their passion. I mean, we know each other from improv. I have friends from growing up, from playing athletics and all that kind of stuff. Friends in my job who did real estate, like passionate about real estate. But I think that trying to create a relationship for the sake of creating a relationship probably isn't like worth on the other side. But I'll let Eva say what she thinks.
Yeah, and then also Greg, if you remember the first one, the first suggestion that Kenora mentioned as well, I think that's another aspect of that. But yes, I think Greg, because Greg is exactly right. Because here's the thing, it's just it's just harder to make friends as you get older, right? Because you're not in school or you're not playing like team sports, and so you have to be very intentional about the where you go. Right now we can't go anywhere, but when we in pre-Rona times, right? You knew that I think like going to places and that going to things that you're interested in and like finding folks there. I think what it has to be is like, I think, Greg, so one is pick something that you like, because here's the thing I'm learning as I'm getting older is that like Black folks have been in a lot of stuff, right? Like if it's like weaving baskets, there's probably a Black weaving baskets association, right? So if you're in the weaving baskets, like get into that. Like definitely I think of skateboarding, like there's probably a Black skateboarding thing. Definitely wine clubs, like everybody likes wine clubs, and they're probably things like that. So I think it's more about expanding your view and like finding people who are similar to you and like who are interested in the same things that you're in. But I do think it has to be genuine, because it can't be more of a because people are going to know that, right? Like if you're being a friend because you are genuinely interested in who they are as a person, versus like they're just Black and they check a box for you and going from there.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's also some element too of like people who you may be in contact with but aren't necessarily friends and might not want to be friends with you. Like there's some element of like not putting this onto them as well. Because I know that there's been certain people I've been friends with for a long time, but I don't like hang out or talk to. Like there's one guy that I know that I like his posts on social media. I've known since I was a kid, Black guy, and he posted something that was like you learn about your friends from like their silence or something along those lines. And so I just like sent him a message, a guy that I see maybe twice a year over the last 20 years. And I was just like, hey man, like, I hope everything's going well, like in all these crazy times. Like, if you ever want to talk about anything, I'd love to talk about it. And he never responded to me. But like, that's totally fine. Like, we're friends, but we might not be talking about the revolution. There's different elements of that. So if you're looking for like a talking about the revolution friend, go to somewhere that's about the revolution. Like, don't make your work friends revolution friends if they're not interested in talking to you about that.
Exactly. There you go. Excellent. And did we address the first part too? Like Talk to a revolutionary. Yes. Did we address the first part? It's two-part. One was like the flirting while white aspect of it.
What to do to reach out to Black colleagues and friends when you are white.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, and I'll just quickly hit on this because I know you all got to get back to work. But and so do I. And so I think one aspect of that is like it's been really funny that, like a lot of Black people have been getting like text messages and calls from their white friends like, how you doing, how's everything, and like some have even gotten like Venmos and PayPal, like stuff in terms of like cook meals and this and that. I will say for Greg, he did send me money, but it wasn't but it was more because my job, we had two big old events, and those big old events absorbed all my time and space and mental, spiritual, and all that. And they were successful, and then that was like more of a congratulations type of thing. I was about to say we lost Greg, but yeah. So, but it came in a time like other people were receiving it. So the thing is, like, I think it's just more about being genuine, and also realizing just because if your coworker, I think if you think of your Black friends as being your coworkers, they probably aren't your, and I like to say bosom friends from like Anne of Green Gables, right? Her and Diane, right? Like there's a difference between like your friend on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and then like your ride or dies, like your bosom friends, right? Like an Diane type of situation. There's that, so that's where it is, and maybe the thing is like maybe you need more of those kind of like in between the bosom friends and then like the Instagram social media friends and things like that.
Yeah.
Excellent. There you go.
Sorry, I'll be getting phone calls coming in. So
excellent.
Yeah, let's do a quick final scene then.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Hey, I'm glad I caught you in the lunchroom here.
Mm-hmm.
Things are going crazy out there in the streets. Am I right?
I know it definitely has been crazy. Like traffic is out of control. People should be staying at home. It's COVID-19. We are essential workers. That is why we are here. Right.
So here's the thing. I've recognized that I've had some privilege in life, and I want to give you $1,000 to make up for it.
Bill, you gonna give me $1,000? First, the answer is yes, obviously.
Okay.
Second is, how do you afford that? We both work at Walmart. This is and you told me about your financial woes. So
yeah. Well, I did some soul searching and kind of looked at all of the times in my life where I've been a beneficiary of systematic racism, and it came to $1,000. So I figured, you know what, get the money out from under the mattress and give it to you, and then I'll just be done. I'll be done with it. So
over your 35 years of life, the systematic racism that you've benefited from, right? That's right. Is just $1,000 US.
It's netted me $1,000 US. Yeah. Oof. Well, and you know what? I wish that it was more. It's double-sided. I don't wish that it was more because I don't believe in institutional racism. Yeah. But I wish that it was more because then I would have a better life and more money. But I've been working here at Walmart, and I know that I made a pay grade up very early on in my career. Mm-hmm. So I was making an extra $1 a day, which in Walmart is big. That's big at Walmart. Walmart, extra $1 a day. That's something.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And so that first year I worked 365 days. So that's $365. But here's the thing, because I got that bump up, I had to buy my own pens to write stuff. So those pens over the course of the year probably cost me about $30. I like really nice pens. So essentially, I wish it was more money, but because of the system that we're in, we're not allowed to unionize. We have to pay for our own health insurance. It hasn't been as much as I would like it to be. So. Yeah.
I see your intentions, Bill. Like, and you're right up. And like, I'm gonna repeat what I said before. I'm gonna take the $1,000. Yep. The only thing I guess I have an issue with is that you think it's only 1,000 that you have benefited from. And I think you have to assess, like, coming out of the womb, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, like you grew up in Montgomery County, I grew up in Prince George's,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like there were certain benefits in terms of like the school system that you had, and like,
Yeah.
you know, taxes that were coming from property taxes that were going into those
Mm-hmm.
schools versus like property taxes in my county, which has definitely gotten better, and they're fantastic schools in my county. So
Mm-hmm.
look, I think that 1,000 is just something you pull out your ass.
Okay.
I'm still gonna take that $1,000, obviously.
It's still yours.
There
It's
you
still
go. There
yours.
you go. But I need you to like expand your mind a little bit. And I know it seems like you're trying to make a connection with me, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that, but I just want to be upfront. We are just coworkers. We will never hang out after work,
Yeah.
because I don't think if we weren't coworkers, I don't think we would ever talk to each other.
Hmm.
Nothing against you. I just don't think we were running in the same circles. But also, I think you need to educate yourself on like what is white supremacy and like white privilege and how that has affected your life.
Yeah.
And I think
Well,
1,000.
yeah, and I'll be honest with you. Like, I don't expect you to, want to hang out. I don't expect you to be into the type of stuff that I'm into. I'll spend most of my time dressing up like superhero characters and cosplaying and going to conventions. So that's probably something that you don't have any interest in, dressing up like a superhero or anything like that. So
I do. I love. I don't bring this up because I do have shame about it. It is weird, but I love it. I do dress up on the weekends. Usually I'm just in my house. I go from DC characters to Marvel characters and then independent characters, and then some that I just create up in my mind. Like I thought of like Mop Lady. What if there's a lady who can like create mops out of her arms and just like clean up like environmental shit? Like I mean, like that's just one idea I've had. Like yeah, so like yeah.
You're Mop Lady?
And
I saw you at Phantom Comics last week.
Yeah.
You were mopping up justice all over the floor.
Yes, I just started that one, and it came to my mind right then and there. Yeah. That's me. I'm Mop Lady. I don't want to let people know because like I'm still testing it out, but like yeah, I mean I love it so much. Woo. Okay, I didn't know you did that. You never talk about it.
Yeah, I don't like to talk about it. You might, if you see me around, it's probably in my costume. It's called Union Buster, and it's kind of hard because I'm someone who's pro-union and I'm busting into the non-union places. It's a bad name.
It's a bad name, yeah.
It's a bad name.
And you got written up for bringing that club to the Walmart, and they were like, "This is a weapon, and you are an employee, so don't threaten customers or perceive."
And that was one of those reasons why they docked me money. It could have been extra, but like because to hire a lawyer for that incident was like around $10,000.
Yeah.
So I cut off that $10,000 that I would have given to you from the benefits of institutional. Well, it was $10,000 to the lawyer, but then I added back in. I probably saved $5,000 because I was white. My bail was lower, so it ended up a net $5,000 loss on that privilege. So
and also you kept your job, so that was a big privilege. You should have been fired going in wielding a big club, this and that. But wow, I mean, all right, that fits in because when I saw that and everyone else saw that, we're just like he lost his mind, or there's something else to it. So, that's okay. That's excellent. Okay,
so, So will you would take a check, or how do I get this money? You burn a hole in my pocket right now.
Yeah, I know. You can Venmo it to me.
Oh.
Yeah, just Cassandra at 234. Get it right now.
Okay.
Yep.
Let me send it over right now.
Yes. Excellent.
Get it right now.
That's amazing. You all are wonderful. I'm sharing my screen right now, and it happened to land on. We raised over $1,500.
Hey! That's fantastic. Thank you, everybody. Yay!
So much, and I want to also leave you all with knowing the donation total, and my Gmail's not working. Here we go. All the things are happening today, including Greg and Eva being amazing. Thank you for opening our eyes through using comedy. Also, be sure to mark yourself as attended on the LinkedIn event. You can connect with each other and like talk across the world about how you're addressing these issues of difference in your workplace. And just stay tuned for more via email. And the quote that I was trying to show you right now, but Google decided to lock me out of my account, was something to the effect of comedy doesn't change things. People change things. Comedy changes people. So I hope all of you will go forth and be people who change things. And we hope the comedy today and that you see in the future continues to inspire change in you and changing your people to then change the world. So thank you so much. Eva and Greg, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Everyone.